Hi everybody, so this is problem set 85, stem and leaf plots and histograms. So this first little problem here demonstrates how to set up a stem and leaf plot. And really what a stem and leaf plot is it's a way to organize data so that you include a stem and then a leaf that goes with the stem. So in this case, we've got a bunch of numbers, some data here, and I'm really looking at the 92, 75, etc. And what you can do with this data is that you can create a stem and leaf. The way you do that is you draw a line. There we go, got to select my in here. You draw your line, and then you put your stems on the left side. So the stems in this case are going to be the tens place of each of these numbers. Since all these are two-digit numbers, I'm going to go ahead and say, all right, well, what we have here, we have some numbers that are in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And I don't think I missed anything, nothing in the 40s, right? So those are going to be my stems. So I'll write those out. So my stem will be 5, a 6, a 7, 8, and 9. And now what we do is that we write all the leaves that go with each of these stems. So for example, if I'm looking at the value 56, the way that I would write that on a stem and leaf plot would be a 6 here. And then we also notice that we have a 57. Where is that little guy? The 57. Sorry, it's actually a 58. There it is. So we would put an 8 here as well. And so that covers all of our numbers in the 50s. These are the leaves over here. So we would read this as a 56 and 58 together. So for 60, we have a 62, 65, and a 69, 69, 65. Where's that little guy? There it is. And then we do this for all the other values. So you notice that we actually do have 274s, so we include 4 twice, as well as 275s. Okay, so that's your stem and leaf plot. Again, we're just using, in this case, our stem is going to be just the tens place of the number, and the leaf is the ones place. So one of the things that is kind of nice about this is that once you've done it, you can do things like calculate the range, median, mode, and mean fairly easily. Range is going to be our largest value minus our smallest value, which would be 96, would be at the top here. Minus 56, which will give us 40. Our median takes just a little bit more work if we count these values: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 values. That means that the middle number, well, there is no middle number because it's even, but we know that it's going to be numbers 15 and 16. And numbers 15 and 16 happen to be 83 and 85. 83 and 85 right here. So we're going to average those. 83 plus 85 divided by 2 to get our median, and that's 84. Just as a reminder, the median is the middle number. The mode is the number that occurs most frequently, and in this case, it appears we have a bunch of them that appear twice, which means this is a multi-mode data set. So I'm going to write out the ones that appear twice, because there are quite a few of them. We have 74, 75, 81, 87, 88, 95, and 96. I should actually, this here, 95 and 96. So these are all the modes. They all appear twice, which is the most common appearance. The mean takes a little bit more work, but when you add up all of these values, you should get 2,444. There are 30 values in the set, as we figured out previously. We divide those out, we get 81.47. So, stem and leaf plot, using stem and leaf to calculate some of these calculations that we have done before. Now, the other thing from this section is something called a histogram, which is a bar graph of frequency distribution. So the way that this works is that this really looks very similar to the bar graphs that you've made before. Ideally on a piece of graph paper, this would be perfectly straight, but as usual, I'm going to do my best here. And what the histogram does is that it shows you frequencies of numbers within certain value ranges. So in this case, since we're dealing with numbers really from 56 to 96, I want to look at kind of the frequency of numbers I could look at frequencies of numbers within certain ranges, but I'm going to pick tens. So that's going to go along my horizontal axis. So really we're dealing with numbers in the 50s, 60s, 70, 80, and 90. So the number of numbers within these ranges is what's going to be on the y, kind of not our y-axis, but our vertical axis. And I need to figure out a interval that will make sense for this. As I kind of go up to my stem and leaf, my 80s have the most appear the most frequently, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 in the 80s. So I'm really looking for something that goes up to 12. So I might go up by twos, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and label that as such, that it goes up by twos here. And then what we do is that we do something called making bins, which is really the bar part. And it goes all to the right. So you notice I'm going to start with the 50s. This bar is going to cover the space between 50 and 60 because that's where the numbers cover, right? There are two numbers, 56 and 58, in this data set that are in the 50s. So I'm going to bring that up to 2, go across and down, and there's my bar for the 50s. And you can see that above in the stem and leaf as well. Now for the 60s, there's how many? There should be 3, 62, 65, and 69. So I got to go just a little bit higher. Those are all the numbers between 60 and 70, so I do that. Between 70 and 80, there are 5 values, so I got to get a little bit higher still. That looks like that. The 80s goes all the way up to 12, as we figured out. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So it's all the way up here. So I'm going to draw in that bar as well. And then for the 90s, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 left. So we need to make sure that that bar makes it up here to the 8. And there you have it. Again, being really careful that we recognize that we need to make sure that our bins go to the right because all these numbers are between 50 and 60. That's the way that I remember it. So give these a shot. Histogram at the bottom, stem and leaf at the top, and see how you do.